Hi, welcome to Suze. I'm live and I'm here talking about a couple of things that have come up over the last couple of days. Here's what I want to talk about, the slap, right? So the first thing about the slap is the joke itself. Whether it was in poor taste or not is up to each individual's perception. I know people with alopecia. I may not have found it funny. I'm not getting involved in the subjective nature of the joke. As a rule, I don't think making fun of people is sort of ever really funny. The same way I try not to object to people specifically, but really more the subject matter. So if he was discussing someone who had intentionally done the chop, or an actress who had been doing this for a role, perhaps it would have been better suited. Second thing is the reaction. What reaction am I referring to? Some of you are thinking immediately of his reaction. Which reaction? The laugh or the follow-up? So it is true that he initially laughed at the joke because the joke was funny in a second, until you gave it a little more thought and realized that we're becoming a more sensitive and enlightened society. In which case, her expression of hurt probably was appropriate. And then he made a choice, right? Someone said, did you see her look? Of course he had to go and do something. She was telling him with her eyes. The only person who has the power to tell you with their eyes is, that's right, a mother. And only your mother can look at you and across a crowded room tell you what to do. Otherwise, it's a choice. You're a grown person. So there was the reaction, there was her look. What really got to me, because I don't watch the Academy Awards, what really got to me was that there was an abuse trigger. I felt like seeing a grown man get up there in front of hundreds, millions of people watching and smack someone, and then get an award after that, minutes later, that was hard to watch. And even the apology didn't seem like I cared at that point. I was so shocked by the initial behavior. The fifth thing related to this is comedy. That doesn't mean that things aren't funny anymore. Again, humor is subjective. I think that when you sign up to go to a comedy club, that you have to make those choices. I think that if you're choosing to hire comedians to host awards shows, you're making a choice. I think that when you attend, you are also putting yourself in a precarious position to say that you're interested in what they're talking about. So that's really all I have to say about the slap. The slap is what happened, the memes that followed. I thought some of them were very spot on. I thought that the idea that Will couldn't go to Israel because he hit the rock instead of talking to it, brilliant, biblical. You know how I love those connections. The next thing I want to talk about is in Hadera. Our sister city in Israel is Hadera, Aaron. It's a northern region in Israel. And just yesterday, there was a terror attack. It was 5 days after 4 people were killed in an attack in Beersheba. So that's the second attack in less than a week. And it was on the eve of a summit that was supposed to take place that included Bahrain, Morocco, Egypt, United Arab Emirates. So in Hadera, two gunmen opened fire at a bus stop and shot dead. 4 people were injured, 2 were killed. One was Yazan Falah, a 19-year-old Druze border police officer. So he's a volunteer border police officer who's not Jewish. He's a Druze community member. And the second one is Shirel Aboukaret, who's 19 as well, and she was a recent Olah, so a new citizen to Israel. She chose to live there. She left France, where her family lives, and she came to Israel. And she also was a volunteer border police, killed by an Israeli Arab gunman. ISIS, the Islamic State, took credit for this. They took credit for the one 4 days ago as well. And that brings us back to making sure that we don't lose focus or lose sight of big picture situations, right? Because while everyone was busy with the slap that I didn't bother to watch, that I saw a couple memes about, that I formulated opinions on the topics, not the people, I was more interested in the people related to the topic of this gunman who opened fire at a bus stop in Hadera. What makes it crazy is that Israel is the size of New Jersey, probably a little bit smaller. What makes it crazy is that El Faham, the city that those gunmen are from, is about 25 kilometers, so 16 miles outside of Hadera. And when I was there, I went on a scenic tour with my host, who took me driving, and she told me that it is safe. These are our, neighbors. We get along just fine. It's like probably not something you would recommend for people who are not from here to drive through these parts. But she took me there comfortably because she said she had friends who even live there. That is a scary, terrifying thought, especially since right now, across the country, in the United States, there are campuses, college campuses that are trying to recruit students in support of Israel apartheid. What does that mean? They're brainwashing, they're gaslighting these students who don't know anything about the internal conflict in the Middle East and explaining to them that what is happening is apartheid. Now, what's ironic is that the true apartheid, now there is in the Palestinian territories. Jews are not allowed to live there. Palestinians can live anywhere they want to, they choose to, they want to, but Israelis are not allowed to live in the Palestinian territories. They're taking a very huge risk. So it's insane, right? When you think about the facts and about being educated and informed and how easy it is to be educated and informed, right? We all know about the beef that Chris Rock and Will Smith allegedly had. We have the alopecia situation of Jada Pinkett Smith, their marital status, their kids' thoughts on the subject. How many of you knew the two names, Yazan and Shirel, of the 19-year-olds who left behind parents, siblings, as volunteer border police because they didn't have to serve in the IDF, in the military, but they still wanted to serve their country. Whether they were an Olah Hadasha, a new citizen who came to Israel of her own choice, or a Druze community member. So those are the things I want to talk about today. So may their souls have an aliyah. Don't forget to think about the important matters. Don't be distracted by this nonsense. We don't care about Will Smith. We care even less about Chris Rock and Jada Pinkett Smith. We care even less about Will Smith and what happens to him now. We don't care. Why don't we care? Because the issues at hand were punching down victims of affliction, saying no to violence in any form, no excuse, no apology accepted, do better, figure it out. And 3, don't forget the real matters at hand. So that's what I wanted to share. Thanks for watching. I got my cooking done early today so that I could pick up the kids, and today's going to be an exciting day. We're going for library cards. They're ready for library cards. I trust them. Both of them at the same time, allegedly. I don't know why I said allegedly. Allegedly. Have a great day.